Hi everyone. Now, before we get into this fantastic video, I just wanted to give a little introduction so you know what to expect. So this is the second in my series with naturopath Beau Patrick from Australia. And Sam and I have got to know each other really quite well over the last few months because we've got so much in common, both in terms of our approach to life and health and really wanting to give people solutions, but also on understanding of why there's so many challenges being thrown at us all at the moment. So, Sam is a naturopath specializing in hormone health. She started off her journey over the past 37 years as a nurse and a pharmaceutical rep, and then transitioned into being a naturopath and a health performance coach specializing in hormone health. She's also a published author, an art therapist, and a life coach. Now, in this talk, I'm going to put the link to our first video and a link to how to get information about the product that we speak about, because this is giving you a solution, a product related solution. There's two things coming up. I'm just about to launch, depending when you watch this. I'm recording this on the 11th of November, so a very special day, Remembrance Day. And I'm just about to launch my Managing Stress and Resetting Your Nervous System online program. And this is a program that literally is accumulating the last 10 years plus of work that I've been doing one-on-one and in small groups with clients, now making it accessible to everyone. Because as you're going to see in the first and second video that are linked below with Sam, stress impacts every impact of our hormone health, our physical health, our emotional health. It's linked to every single physical and emotional disease. But hormone health is a major issue for all of us at the moment. Now, not just women of a certain age, whether you're young, whether you're old, whether you're male, whether you're female, or anything in between, quite literally. And I don't say that sarcastically, because our hormones are so messed up at the moment because of the stress, the different type of stress we're under these days. I'm not negating that through every stage in history, whatever our history might be, there's different stresses that face us. But at the moment, we're bombarded from every angle, visible and invisible. And when our hormones are out of balance, our hormones are our communication network. And we all know what it's like to be censored. Well, imagine all your body's internal communication network being censored and stopping working properly. It have a devastating effect on us and makes us feel the least resilient, the least confident, the least in terms of energy, and just not really ourselves at all. So sit back and watch this video. It's short, it's succinct. Sam is incredible. You will learn so much from every interaction with her. And please, please do reach out for help. The link below the video and pinned in the comments will tell you how you can get more information about this amazing product. But it's not just about the product, it's about the community and support you're going to get as part of that. And Sam and I work together on this with many other amazing individuals. So if you're stuck in the ordering process, when you put your email in, you'll get my contact details. Send me an email with your number, whether you're on WhatsApp, whether you're outside the UK, and let's really turn this around. Let's not wait for any saviors, however encouraging they might be. Let's take back our physical health, our emotional health, our spiritual health today and make ourselves strong, resilient, and capable. I hope you enjoy this as much as I did. Thank you. I'm absolutely delighted to be back with a return guest. The link to our first video will be below, and Beau Patrick. Now, Sam has recently become a really good friend of mine, both on a professional level and a personal level, because your experience in all things health is absolutely phenomenal, Sam. Now, we did the full introduction in our first interview, so I don't want to waste too much time by going through that. But for people that haven't seen that, tell us a little bit about your speciality of how you work with people now.
Yeah, so thank you. And we have got this great friendship. It's great just from around the world and this common link, which we've been really given as a natural product to help people with weight loss, which I'm very happy about. And I know that link that you have there will take people to what we talked about the first time round.
Yeah.
So my background has been in nursing and then in pharmaceuticals, and for the last 22 years as a naturopath, herbalist, nutritionist. So kind of, doing the different facets of health and just certainly, blinkers are off now. My eyes are wide open, and I've become a specialist in hormones and how foods, thoughts, lifestyle, lack of exercise, certain exercise impacts on the human body, men and women. And I found it, I could talk underwater about hormones. It's my favorite topic. And I've got, 8 books published in hormones. So fire away with any hormone questions that you have.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And one of the things that well, I love that side of your work that you've got the allopathic side, you've got the natural side, and you tie your knowledge all together beautifully. But I also love the fact that my audience will really appreciate is the fact that you're very well aware of the different stressors that are on us all now as humans and all animals and the land and our plants and our food supply and everything. Now, we're not going to go into that in too much detail, but I think so many people realize now that the challenges we're being faced with are not the same as we were 100 years ago. Our food supply is not the same, our air is not the same, our water's not the same, and the stress levels that people are dealing with are different. We're both parents and we've got similar age children, and I'm not going to pretend that I wouldn't find it more stressful if one of my children was going off to fight in the trenches of the First World War.
Yes.
Different types of stress, but I think it's very easy to sort of undermine the stresses that we're under and the impact that has on all of our hormones, whatever age we are. We're not just talking about us menopausal women, male, female, young, old. Your work on hormones, you've learned so much. I mean, what have been some of the biggest surprises that explain why so many people are struggling at the moment, Sam?
Yeah, so some of the surprises, and I'll just backtrack to explain what hormones are because
Oh,
it's a
lovely,
word
thanks.
that's, yeah, it's just a word that's really come into its own now. So, back 20 years ago, people would say, oh, she's so hormonal. And everyone thought that hormones were a term a little bit derogatory about women. And that we were the only sex that walked around, and I'm just going to talk very heterosexually, men, women, and I'm not going to address the shades in between because that's another conversation about hormones. But that wasn't that's not the case. Every breathing organism produces hormones, and I'm sure in 100 years' time we'll find that plants. I mean, if they can communicate via their roots and microphilia, then certainly they probably have messenger systems that we are unaware of, and that's all a hormone is. A hormone is like an internal postage system that takes a message from one part of your brain to another. Now, it can be like the pituitary gland down to an ovary and send a little, follicle stimulating hormone going, come on, guys, let's make a follicle. Or it could be, the testes that produce testosterone that go up to the heart and say, beat like an ox, and up to the muscles and go, perform, it's time to lift that car. So the body uses hormones to convey all sorts of messages to all parts of the body. And if that organ, or that, say in the example of the ovary, if it's not producing eggs anymore, then the initial organ will start to send more hormone down. And I'll go,
Yeah,
you're not responding, And sometimes that happens through stress. So it's not just because the woman's becoming to that beautiful cycle, where she goes from being fertile woman to wise woman, which is menopause. It could just be because she's stressed out at work, and the ovaries just are not responding. And so the originating hormone or other hormones like estrogen, testosterone, particularly with stress, adding petrol on the fire, go through the roof. And then we get this really mismatched hormone situation going on, which have systemic effects, which means it affects the whole body,
mm,
not just the ovary. And yeah, modern day stresses, as you say, it's different to 100 years ago. We have access to more food and interesting gluttony and poor food choices, and also crippling, unable to get healthy, organic, unadulterated food. There's so many new challenges. It's not like we are home and hosed as a species Far from it.
Oh, there's so much in there. I absolutely love it. And one of the things I really want to people to take away today is I'd love to discuss with you, Sam, before we go on to some of the solutions, this balance between self-accountability and educating ourselves and making the best choices we can with what's available to us, with also the fact that no rational person would think that our food's so depleted of minerals now. It's so full of toxins. They're spraying us with toxins from the air. There's fluoride in the water and goodness knows what else in the water. But also the stress that comes with this sort of realization that the world is not what you thought it was. So there's all these, and that's without the EMF. So where do you sit in terms of there's so much shame around hormones, weight, stress management techniques? Because everyone I speak to, all my clients, their stress levels are off the scale,
Yes.
understandably. How do you sort of work with people and explain to people, look, a lot of this isn't our fault, we didn't know, but we also have to be self-accountable for our actions once we do know?
Yeah, look, I think the the shortish way to answer that is that free-floating anxiety is when we've got multiple unanswered questions floating around in the air. Why are they, doing whatever they're doing to the skies? I trusted that, and people are still in this kind of blindsided coming out of this phase. But I loved all those people. I trusted those people. My children trust those people, and now what? I've got to really, and it turns the world upside down. That is a massive stress. But to stay in that state of paralysis or overanalyzing, analysis paralysis is not smart either. It's time to, gather your skirt, pull up your socks, or pull up your, zipper and pull on your vest, I don't know, whatever metaphor for blokes, and let's get down. Let's create the world we want. Let's be the healthiest, calmest, centered we can be. Because the people who listen to this, I mean, you've got an incredible tribe of people who are highly motivated, very educated, but we don't want them to be stressed because then they become part of the problem.
Yeah.
We want these, we want your people to be anchored and strong and to understand, sure, all this stuff's just how did we get there? Well, we can't keep analyzing that unless you are an analyst with solutions. So now it's like, okay, let's all appreciate there's a lot that's out of people's control. Let's focus on what is in your control, and how you react is definitely in people's control. So stress is something that we can pull down. We can acknowledge that things are a bit cray-cray and not how we like them, but to sit in that state it serves nobody. And the
Completely.
more, okay, this is going on, and each day anchor ourselves to the earth. However we do that, you feed horses. Some people might, well, I mean, I swim in the ocean, taking our shoes off and even just being on planet Earth, and then, psychologically anchoring ourselves and physically bringing those hormones down is, I think, the main strategy to get back what I call humanity.
I absolutely love it. I couldn't agree more. And some of the things that people are really dealing with at the moment, getting back control of ourselves. We've got a couple of really big solutions. You're going to hear for the next week, I'm launching my new stress management and resetting your nervous system course, which is incredible.
Perfect.
But we have got one of the symptoms that a lot of people notice when their hormones are out of whack is weight gain.
Mm.
And there's so much shaming around weight at the moment, and so much, I know people personally that really have tried so much. They do exercise, they do, but this stress and hormones and weight gain is really linked. And we've got this fantastic little natural solution, which is a hops extract, what we're going to talk through. But before we talk through that, Sam, the link between your hormones being out of balance and weight, and what else might people look for if they're not going down the full testing route, which I know we can mention because you offer some amazing testing for people, but what are they going to notice which might be those red warning flags that they need to be looking into this?
Okay, so I'll just spend, if it's okay, about 90 seconds to 2 minutes explaining the stress physiological issue that goes on in the body. Now, people might have heard this before, but I'll hopefully rephrase it another way. And I'll just say from the get-go, weight, particularly the weight that goes on between shoulders and hips, that torso weight, in my mind, is due to two things: sugar imbalance hormones and stress imbalanced hormones. Sex imbalanced hormones tend to do different stuff unless it's testosterone. And one of my specialties is polycystic ovary syndrome, which is high testosterone in women. That's a stress phenomena. Once people stop seeing it as anything other than, and doctors saying, we don't know what causes PCOS and polycystic ovary syndrome, for those who haven't heard of it, where you get cysts on your ovaries, can't have babies. I've never heard anything more dysfunctional. Of course, it's an issue of stress. When women get stressed, the testosterone goes up. Okay, so I'll just go back to what the stress response is. A normal physiological response is, our body's got a couple of jobs at a very high level. In the amygdala and our higher functions is to procreate, to reproduce ourselves, and survival. So it needs to survive for this organism to replicate. So do viruses, so do bacteria. The function of any living organism is to survive, and it will deploy and employ lots of strategies to ensure that ongoing survival. Now, in humans, there's only there's only an on switch and an off switch. That's it. So medically, it's called the sympathetic nervous system, and that's when the switch is on, and that's when you're in survival mode, or the switch is off, which is called the parasympathetic state. That's it. There's only two. There's the body's trying to get stressed, or the body's trying to relax. Now, the relaxation, the parasympathetic, is driven by the vagus nerve, and that is when our body is relaxed. It occurs in meditation or when we're doing green light activities. That's what I call them. Our heart rate will drop down, our blood pressure will drop down. We sleep, digest, urinate in that phase. Now, the on switch, which is when our body's going, my life's under threat. It's like, no, it's not really. You're just running late for an appointment. Or no, it's not really. You've just put on 20 items on the day and you're only ever going to achieve two. Or, in a shitty relationship and you probably shouldn't be there anymore. And you're in survival mode. Now, in survival mode, our body sends off a cacophony of hormones that get it ready to fight. Fight, or it's like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to take this on. I've got to get out of here quick. Or they call it now freeze, because some people literally just freeze and don't do any of the above. They don't fight, they don't flee, they stay. So what happens then is our body, often through unconscious triggers, and this is, a typical old, oh my God, it's 12 o'clock. I've got to go to lunch because I've got to go and, pay for the bills, and I haven't sent this to the boss yet. Oh my God, I'm in survival mode. We send off adrenaline and noradrenaline, which a lot of people have heard of. Females send off a lot of testosterone. Guys will as well, and another hormone called cortisol. Now, those hormones deployed appropriately are brilliant. They save our life. If you need to jump out of a train that's gone off course and it's coming for you, you need all of them to work in milliseconds, and they do. They literally work in milliseconds. And during those milliseconds, the consequences are your heart rate. So they affect the heart, the blood vessels, the liver, and still glycogen. So what happens is your heart rate increases, your blood pressure goes up. So you can pump your blood around quicker, and the heart starts beating deeper, so your cardiac output goes out. Some people feel a boom, oh my gosh, it's like my heart. They'll say that's like this. Their lungs will take in more air because we want to hyperoxygenate. They become more alert and on guard. They will the cortisol and the adrenaline go to the liver and say, hey, any stored sugar, guys, get it into the bloodstream now because we might need to use it. So insulin goes up. When insulin goes up, we start making fat. So if we're just sitting there running late for our, 12 o'clock date with the bank manager and our insulin's high, and then we go, oh my God, I'm just going to eat, some sugar-rich food like a Tim Tam or I don't know, something and a cup of tea to get me to that point. Suddenly we've got high circulating sugar. We've already told the body to release all the stored sugar, and we've got insulin. We make fat because the body cannot and will not cope with digestion in the presence of stress. They're opposite states. And it's the number one, I think it's the number one reason why we've got such a, well, it's actually, no, that's not true. I think, as I said before, high insulin, huge problem. I'm seeing, which isn't a stress phenomena, but high stress certainly is. So those two states have created an obese, multinational pandemic globally. And unfortunately, the solutions out there aren't being listened to. And pharma has taken over going, oh, well, you're all defunct. You better outsource it to your doctor. And guess what? He's going to send you to a dietitian who's going to just tell you to count carbs and feel worse about yourself. If that fails, they might put you on speed, Duramine. If that fails, then yeah, you're going to get a jab in the guts and you might have a 1% chance of getting thyroid cancer. It's a slippery, yucky slope that clearly isn't working. Obesity's gone like this. It's tripled in the last 25 years. It's crazy. So managing stress and like programs like yours, showing people step by step, break it down, implement things in your everyday where you start saying, oh my God, that's right, my life's not under threat.
Yeah.
Bring it down. Drop all the cortisol, drop down the adrenaline, drop down the testosterone, and just come back to a beautiful center place where you feel relaxed.
Oh my God, you're so amazing, Sam. I could literally, anyone who's watching this, Sam is incredible. Not only does she have all the knowledge, but she applies it all and she makes it really accessible to all of us. So you're amazing. I love the way you explain things. Now, we want to provide people with solutions, and stress and weight gain and hormone imbalances have a huge amount, not only on your physiological side of things, but your emotional state, your self-confidence, your resilience. And we're seeing that people have never been as least resilient as they are now because of this overwhelm. Now, we both started working together, and one of the things I really want to encourage people with this natural hot-based product that we're going to talk you through is the community and the support you get. And when we're going through these changes, having this community and support is a game changer. You've had this in Australia and done phenomenally with helping people with this. What are some of your biggest takeaways about why having a natural product is a game changer in this market?
So I just want to reverse obesity in Australia by 1%. It's sitting at 70%. If I can get that down, if I can move that needle backwards, I feel like my legacy on the planet's been achieved, because that equates to hundreds of thousands of people who have their confidence back. Most people who come to see me with a weight issue don't go, well, they might say, oh, I want to lose weight. But the next question I'll ask them, why is that? They go, because I don't feel confident. Confidence is everything. People are, by and large, burnt out, lacking confidence, can't find their voice, scared to find their voice. And this applies to guys, but very much so to women. We have stopped putting boundaries in because we've just like become, because, I mean, there's so many facets for this, but, if they're working women, that it's very difficult to know where that boundary is, because
Yep.
we've rapidly entered the workforce. And now we're all rapidly working from home. And, I've got clothes that I've got to hang out later, and I've just cooked a nice meal. And, if you've got kids, so there's this juggle going on. And I think to have something natural that helps people, that's not pharmaceutical and has not been used en masse like this before, is the most exciting thing I've been a part of. And look, as in my role as a drug rep, I launched some of the biggest drugs in history. And as I said, I'm not proud of it, and certainly wasn't the jab. I was quite outspoken about that one, and got tapped on the shoulder for it and fined. But it's having something natural. So Mother Nature provides so many things, and I see the plants behind you, and there's a real, I think, to ignore the medicinal plants that we've been surrounded with is, I don't like saying stupid on our behalf, but ignorant on our behalf. We have got a pharmacopoeia around us in the bushes. And if you're in Australia, we've got even our native bushes that have, and our Aboriginals have a whole folklore around the herbs here. In North Europe and Europe, you've got a whole stack of other
Yeah.
powerful medicinal plants. And this extracts from the hops plant, which a lot of people will be familiar. It's used in beer. But But like with all plants, there's a stalk, they've got leaves, they've got flowers, many of them, and there'll be constituents in all parts of that flower plant that will have different benefits. What I like about this is one, it's natural, very low side effects. Majority of people will get a result. Now, with everything, there might be some it doesn't suit. Can you predict who that is? No. But is it worth giving a go? Yes, because of the fact it's natural and low side effects and very well tolerated, and the fact that overwhelmingly 90% of people are getting a result. It's an extract from the flower of the hops. And because it's got the hops benefit, so one of the big things I'm finding and trying to set people's expectation up for is that hops is well documented to lower cortisol. Now,
Yeah.
that's not beer, that's different. That's brewed hops. As a medicinal, hops lowers cortisol. And that's the majority of people, reason of why people don't sleep well, because they're raising their cortisol before they go to bed, which stops melatonin, the other hormone, kicking in. So it brings that down. So one of the big things we're hearing is people are sleeping better than they've ever slept before. It also is anti-inflammatory. It also can help with lowering blood pressure if there's a blood pressure problem. People are saying they feel clearer. And I do know when people are stressed, you get a bit fuzzy with your thoughts. This
Yeah.
just drops it down a bit. So the weight loss things are incredible, but I'm saying to people, go into this with a longer vision and see this as a super herb. It really is a super plant. Like, I've got superfoods. This is a super herb, and give it a 90-day, go as a minimum, and then see how you're feeling. Count all the other benefits, and yeah, I'm loving it.
Oh, I so agree. And it's just such a great way for people to really kickstart their change journey that's accessible. Because, guys, what you literally do, it comes in a glass bottle or these, and you literally add it to a drink, any drink, once or twice a day. But you get support with all this. So, in our last interview, Sam explained beautifully about how it works with visceral fat and activating the brown fat that then burns the white fat, etc. So, we're not going to repeat that. We're keeping these short and sweet because otherwise it's too overwhelming for people. So there'll be a link below to the video. There will be a link below to all of Sam's information as well. Her books are incredible. You work with people in groups, individually, etc. So all of those links will be below. And very importantly, there will be a link below about how you can get more information about this, because we love people to be informed, don't we, Sam? And
Oh, yes.
take the
Sorry.
information that you want. If you're like Sam and I, you want to know everything. If you're like my husband, you don't want to know everything. So that you can pick and choose the information. Don't get overwhelmed with it. If you want to dive deep, dive deep. If you don't, we're here to support.
Yes, and I think the what has been drawn into this natural product are people who are passionate about nature, food, lifestyle. You don't get that when there's been a needle jabbed in someone's guts. That's
Mm.
a uh, get out. You've just done your 5 minutes, and we're going to just bill the government another ping them a $400 fee, or you just paid for that privately. That's not resolving the issue, because as we've already identified, majority of the problem is how people are reacting to stress and what's happening with their metabolic hormones, their sugar, insulin levels, or their leptin and ghrelin, and why they're overeating. Majority of those things are psychological. The food choices we make are becoming very psychologically driven, which comes back to how confident are you? What's your worthiness? Why are you running this rat race or treadmill? Do you need to do that? All these things that you're squeezing into your day, making a difference to your bottom line of happiness, your bottom line of finances, your bottom line of love. And if not, honestly, why keep doing it? Stop it. Work on you. Make you happier, because at the moment, each individual that makes themselves happier, healthier, fitter is the solution to what we've seen just go out of control in the last few years.
I absolutely love it. Now, I know you're just about to hop on to another call, so I'm going to finish off for everyone there. Look, I will be encouraging this incredibly beautiful lady. I know you're so busy, but I'm sure she'll spare us some more time in the coming months to just keep this journey, because Sam and I and all the other people we're working with, you're part of a team when you do this. There's support if you need it. You don't need to take it if you don't want to. Everyone's very different. And this is what I love. It's all about choice. Now, there's a link below for you to pop in your email to get more information. In that email, it's also got my contact number. If you need help, if you've got questions, if you need help ordering, please send me an email with your phone number, including your area code and whether you're on WhatsApp if you're outside the UK. I will get in touch because this is really important that people get the right support. Sam, you're incredible. Thank you so much for doing this and squeezing us into your busy schedule. And I am absolutely loving being on this journey with you. So thank you.
Oh, and thank you. And thank you for what you're doing in people, which is giving them information to inspire them to make little changes that are achievable and are very necessary at the moment. So, yeah, thank you.
Let us know any questions below and we can cover those in the next one. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. And if you feel inspired, please do share with your friends and family. This helps us spread the word and also helps me encourage some exciting new guests to take part in this podcast. And above all, stay curious and stay free.